It is June the 12th, 2025, and I hope everybody's been having a wonderful day so far today. My day has not been so wonderful, let me tell you. I was talking about yesterday how I went to my mother-in-law's house and my kids to do some work, and we had to go back over there again today. But before we left to go over there, or before we went over to her house, we had to stop by Lowe's. For any of you guys who don't know what a Lowe's is, it's just like a home improvement store. But I walked in there with my kids, and as soon as we walked in, my blood glucose monitor alarm started going off. I started feeling a little bit lightheaded before we even got in there, but as soon as we walked in, I was like, here we go. My blood sugar started to plummet. And when it starts to drop, it'll drop really fast on me. And I hadn't had anything to eat this morning. I just kind of jumped up and ran out the door with the kids because, you know, we were already running behind. I tried to tell my boys to wake up like 10 times this morning. And every time I went in their room, they're like, I'm getting up. And then I'd, you know, go back to getting ready. And I was trying to gather a bunch of like tools and stuff like that to take over there. So every time, you know, I'd walk in there, tell them to get ready, and then walk away, and then come back 10 minutes later, they were right back asleep. So after attempting to wake them up multiple times, I finally went in their rooms like, all right, guys, like, I'm not kidding. Y'all need to get up. And they finally woke up. But like I said, we're running behind. So I just kind of ran out the door this morning and didn't eat anything. And when we got into Lowe's, like I said, my glucose monitor alarm started going off because my blood sugar had gotten so low. And I started getting like really shaky. When my blood sugar gets like really, really low, I'll start to shake really bad. And I mean like shake like this, and sweat will just start pouring off of me. I'll get like really, really hot, shaky. I get really confused. I don't know what's going on. And like sweat will just like literally be pouring off of me like I'm standing in a rain shower. So I was in Lowe's, the sweat started dripping off of me, and my kids were like, Dad, are you okay? And I told them, I was like, my blood sugar's getting really low, guys. Like, we need to find like something, like some candy or something. I had left my bag in the Jeep. I carry a bag around with me all the time that has like my glucose tablets in it, and, you know, all my medication. I keep my nausea medication in there, and my insulin pump has a separate device, so I have to carry around like a whole separate phone that runs my insulin pump. So I have to keep that with me everywhere I go. So I have all this stuff that I have to keep with me at all times. But I had left it in the Jeep where I keep, and my glucose tablets were in there as well. So I told my kids, I'm so sorry this story is so long, but I just wanted to give you guys some context into what happened. So I told my kids, we need to go up to the front and find some candy or something. So we go up to the front, and they had a whole bunch of different kinds of candies up there, but I already, you know, have problems chewing on stuff. And even if I have my partials in, which I didn't this morning, even if I have my partials in, if I try to chew on something that's like really sticky or something like that, it'll pull my partials out. So I was trying to find something that was going to, you know, not like pull on my teeth or whatever. And I found, the only thing that I found that was like, you know, somewhat would work was these, like these little airhead strips, or like these little rainbow strips. I'd never had them before, but I grabbed a bag of those and opened it right up and started throwing those things in my mouth because like I was getting really, really, really shaky. So I'm throwing these in my mouth and I'm chewing on them. It's the first, you know, bit of candy I'd thrown in my mouth. And as I'm chewing on it, I felt something like poke me in my gum. And I'm like, that was really odd. That didn't feel right. And I'm like, still kind of chewing around. And I'm like, wait a minute, something just is not right. And I went like this and stuck my hand and I pulled out, and I'll show you guys. This is pretty gross. But that fell out of my mouth. So anyway, so my tooth broke off in the back today. It broke off at the gum line. So now I have this, you know, all the way in the back at the bottom back here. My tooth is just completely broken off at the gum. So, you know, it's all jagged and everything back in there. But it's pretty much down all the way at the gum. And, as soon as I pulled my tooth out, I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. This is going to be this kind of day today. We went ahead and got the stuff that we needed to get, and then we just went ahead and went over to my mother-in-law's house. I was like, well, we're already out. I'm going to go ahead and go over here. And, I had blood coming out. It was pretty gnarly. And like I said, we went ahead and went over there. But on the way, I called my dentist. I have an appointment at 10:30 in the morning, so I'm going to go see what they say. I know that they're going to have to extract the rest of this tooth now. So I'm going to have to go in at some point. I don't know when. All I know is I'm going to go see the dentist in the morning. But I need them because my dentist does not do extractions, so I'm going to have them send me over. Well, he will, but he won't do extractions on me because of my blood thinners and all that stuff. So I have to go to an actual oral surgeon anytime I have to have any work done. So now I got to go see my dentist to get a referral to get sent in to the oral surgeon, and then who knows how long it's going to be until they extract the rest of this tooth. And then I'm going to have to go back to my dentist, and now I have to have my partials readjusted. They're going to have to fix them so that I can wear them. So now I can't wear my partials until all this stuff gets addressed. It's just a mess. Not what I was looking forward to happening today, but, it's just one of those things. Stuff like this happens. Some days are great and some days aren't. It's just, every once in a while, things just hit the fan. And my point to this is, and the reason that I wanted to tell that story and just talk about this today is that, here I am, with another tooth that's broken out. I don't even know how many teeth I have left at this point. And, you probably look at me and go, oh, he's got his teeth, but I don't have any back teeth anymore. They're all gone. And I would open up my mouth and show you guys, but I'm far too embarrassed to do that. But, the thing is that, I have chronic pancreatitis now, cirrhosis of the liver, an enlarged spleen, stents running all through my liver, my portal vein, stents in my pancreas. I have stents everywhere. I've had excessive amounts of, medical procedures that have been done to me. I've spent 3.5 months in the hospital at this point now in the past 3 years. I've accumulated so much medical debt. I have no idea what it is in total. I really don't, but it's a lot. Like I said, I've ruined my health. I have tons of medical debt now. My teeth, I've had nothing but problems out of my teeth because of all of this. And, I didn't have problems like this before with my teeth. I had cavities and stuff like that had to be taken care of, but never had I ever had a tooth extracted other than my wisdom teeth before all this happened. And I got really sick. I couldn't eat. I started wasting away. My dentist told me because of all my health problems, that it started to wreck my teeth because my body was like pulling, minerals out of my teeth. I don't know. But he just told me that, it was because of my health condition that I was starting to have, these kinds of dental issues, because I've had to have all of my back molars pulled at this point now. It just starts basically from right behind the canines on the top and the bottom, and all the rest of those teeth have been pulled. And it's not like I just was able to go and just have all the teeth pulled at once either, because I'm on blood thinners. So I'd have to go and have like 1 or 2 teeth pulled, and then they said that's all we're gonna do, and then you have to come back again. So then on top of it, I had to get off of my blood thinners. I had to bridge with these other blood thinners. I had to take the injectable kind, leading up 3 days. I had to get off of my Eliquis and then take the, what's it called? The Lovenox? I think it's called Lovenox. I had to take the Lovenox shots for 3 days leading up to the procedure. And then after I had the procedure done, I couldn't take my blood thinners for like another 2 days after that, which I'm sure probably led to me having the occlusion problems that I started dealing with, because that all happened after I was having all these extractions done, and I had to keep getting off my blood thinners, and I'd get back on, then I have to be back off them again. But all this happened because I couldn't stop drinking. I tried to stop many, many times, and I was never successful. I always thought that the alcohol was more important, that I needed to have it in my life. I didn't think that I could go on living my life without the alcohol. I truly did not. I didn't know what I was going to do. I'll never forget whenever I first got out of the hospital the first time, and here I am, fresh out of the hospital, and then I can't drink. I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't know how to deal with any of my emotions. I didn't know how to deal with bad days. I didn't know how to deal with anything. I didn't know how to deal with good days. Because it's really difficult to adjust after you get sober, especially if you've been using alcohol or a substance to deal with anything in your life. And, when we get so far down the rabbit hole, we begin to start using whatever the substance is or whatever the activity is for every single thing. Whether we're having a great day, bad day, got thrown a curveball, we just got fired at our job, or we just got a promotion. We have a reason to drink or use every single time. I know for myself, at least, I did. Every single day, I had an excuse to continue to drink. It could have been the best day I ever had in the world. I drank. It's a great day. I need to celebrate. Or if I was having a terrible day, well, I've got to drink because it's a terrible day. And one of the reasons I come on here and talk about this every day is that I don't want to see other people go down the same path that I did. I know that it can be hard. I know it can be difficult to get and stay sober. I really do. Alcohol is one of those things. It's everywhere, and it's socially acceptable. It's totally legal, for the most part. There's places in the world where it's not. There's places here in the States where alcohol, they don't sell alcohol or have alcohol. I don't know if it's totally illegal or not, but there are dry places in the United States. But for the most part, it's legal pretty much everywhere. It's socially acceptable. It's in every single gas station. It's in every single Dollar General. It's in every single grocery store for the most part. I mean, it's everywhere. It is hard to stop, and especially as well, if you want to go to a party or go hang out at your friend's house, or go to, your friends are having the football game playing, or you get invited to a barbecue or whatever it is, there's probably going to be alcohol there, which makes it very difficult not to drink. And like I said, if you were the type of person like I was that drank for every reason under the sun, it can be difficult to stop. And then, what do you do now? You don't know what to do. It's like starting your life all over again and trying to relearn how to deal with all of this different stuff. Well, guys, the point of today's video is use me as a cautionary tale. Don't drink for me today. Don't drink because of what's happened to me. There have been so many things that I've had to deal with, not just that, I have to go see a doctor pretty much every single week now. And back when this all began, I was going to the doctor a couple of times a week, so do you want to end up going to the doctor every week or a couple times a week? Do you want to have to take all the medications that I have to take every single day? Blood thinners twice a day, pantoprazole twice a day, a beta blocker every single day, nausea medication a few times a day. I mean, it's just, the list goes on and on. Plus, I'm on insulin and all this other stuff. I ended up with diabetes because of my alcoholism. I've got so many issues health-wise. I've got type 1 diabetes. I had type 2, and then it moved to type 1. I've got an enlarged spleen. I've got chronic pancreatitis, gastritis, liver disease. My eyes are shot now. I didn't wear glasses before all of this. I've lost half of my teeth or more at this point now. I have to wear partials. And that's the thing too, is that now I gotta wait to get this tooth extracted and then go back to my dentist, because he's going to have to take my partials and readjust them now because that tooth is missing. My partials were hanging on to the back of that tooth that was back there. So now they're going to have to take my partials, adjust them, send them back to the lab to have that all done. It's going to be months until I'm able to eat solid food again. all I have is just my front teeth to chew with. So I'm gonna have to go back to the soft diet all over again like I was before I got my partials placed. I'm about to lose a whole bunch of weight all over again because I can't eat solid food. I mean, I can chew a little bit with my front teeth, but you know, how much chewing can you really do with your front teeth? Not a whole lot. So, you know, it's pretty much going to be a liquid diet, which I'm already on for the most part already. That too. You know, I basically drink 2 protein shakes a day and have 1 small meal every single day. And now I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with that 1 small meal, because it's going to have to be something really soft. It's going to have to be like cottage cheese or peanut butter or, you know, something like that, or yogurt. Let me tell you, I am like so burned out on eating yogurt at this point now. I've been eating yogurt now for like the past 2 years straight. I'm burned on it. I'm tired of drinking protein shakes every single day. You know, it's no fun, you know. Be able to eat and enjoy whatever food that you want, because that's another thing too. You know, when you start ending up with liver problems and pancreatic problems, your diet, you can't eat what you want anymore. Nothing agrees with your stomach or your pancreas anymore. You're not producing the pancreatic enzymes to digest your food the way that you need to. And especially when you're having pancreatic problems, you have stomach aches all the time. And I'm talking about the kind of stomach ache that'll ruin your whole entire day. I'm talking about the kind of stomach ache where you're laying in your bed with a bag of ice on your stomach and a heating pad on your back. And you're not getting up out of the bed the rest of the day. That's the only place you're going to be. You know, once again, don't end up like me. You know, if you have managed to get yourself sober and you have made it however far you have made it, just keep pushing forward and don't look back. You know, I know those thoughts can come and they can go. And I know, especially after a really tough day, you know, that drink sounds so nice, or that substance sounds so nice, because, you know, we think it's going to just help us relax and make it through the rest of that day. Just make it through the rest of the day. Don't go pick up that drink. Don't stop by that store, because all it's going to do is start that cycle all over again. And once we go back and we have that one drink, it's so hard to get back out of it. You know, you might be able to hop right back on the wagon, or you might not. Do you really want to gamble with that? Because at the end of the day, if you go back to drinking again, you're gambling with your life. Or if you go back to using a substance, you're gambling with your life. Not only are you gambling with your life, but your livelihood, the trust. And trust is one of those things that, for me, it's one of the most important things that I hold on to. It's one of the most important things I hold dear. Because for so many years, I didn't have trust. I had lost trust with everybody. Nobody believed a word that came out of my mouth, because I was always lying in order to protect my drinking. It was always something. Even something as simple as somebody asked me, how many beers have you had today? I didn't want to say, well, I've had a whole case already. I've just had a couple, maybe 3 or 4, you know. But I was lying to people, and they knew it. You know, they could look at me and tell, you know, when I'm slurring my words, my eyes are crossed, I'm bumping into everything. You know, I'm not making any sense with what I'm talking about. They know that I'm wasted drunk. And my family and friends all knew that, you know, 3 or 4 beers is not going to take me to the point where I'm slurring my words and my eyes are crossed. You know, that's a half a gallon of vodka for me. So they knew I was lying, and I had lost all my trust with my wife, my kids, my parents, my whole family, my mother-in-law, just everybody, my friends. Nobody believed anything that I said, because I was always lying to cover up my drinking. And now that I've gotten my trust back, I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world. You know, so don't lose your trust either, because like I've said so many times, trust is one of those things that takes a lifetime to build and a second to lose. And it's so frustrating when that trust gets lost again and nobody believes anything that's coming out of your mouth. And when you know that you're telling the truth, but can you really blame them? You can't. Because when we keep lying over and over and over again, people don't believe us. So for if anything, don't lose the trust. Because trust is one of those things that money just can't buy. It's irreplaceable. It really is. So once again, guys, today's video is just a cautionary tale. Like I said, use me as a reason not to drink today. Use me as an example. It's totally fine with me. You know, tell yourself, I do not want to end up like this guy. I just don't. I want to live a happy, healthy life. So go do that. If that thought's entering your mind today, just get rid of it and move on. The days are so short. They really are. You know, we wake up in the morning, before you know it, it's 12 o'clock. You know, and then there's only a few more hours left in the day. What, 8-9 hours left in the day? Maybe a little bit longer, depending on how late you stay up. But, it's not that much longer. You know, all you got to do is make it through the rest of the workday, and don't stop by the store on your way home today. You know, just go straight home. And once you get home, you know, get yourself some dinner and sit down on your couch or lay in your bed and turn the TV on. And before you know it, the day is over. And it's a new, fresh day tomorrow. And you made it through another day sober. And then tomorrow you can rinse and repeat and do it all over again. But if the thought of drinking or using or whatever it is enters your mind today, use me as a reason not to drink. Think of me whenever that thought enters your mind. Because I can promise you do not want to end up in my shoes. You just don't. You know, it all depends on how much you drink and what's going on in your life. And, you know, I can't, you know, everybody's different. Everybody's lived a different life and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, so you might already have some damage. I don't know. But the thing is that you don't want to add to it and create more problems. Let's stay sober for today, guys, and not look back. You know, the past is in the past. The future isn't here yet, but we have right now and we have today. And it's all about the decisions that we make that can affect our whole entire life. One decision, you know, could affect everything in our life. You know, that decision to stop by the gas station today and pick up a 12-pack of beer, or that decision to stop by the liquor store today and grab that bottle after you've been sober for the past 6 months, might be the decision that changes your life forever. Because that might be that last 12-pack or that last bottle that sets you right back into the cycle and you spiral out of control. And you never know what might happen from this point forward if you decide to stop and pick that up. So let's not do it today. Let's stay sober. Like I said, use me as a reason not to drink. If that thought enters your mind, just think of me. Think of all the stuff that I've been through, all the health problems that I have. I'm perfectly fine with that. I want you to use me as an example of why not to drink. That's why I come on here and talk about this every single day. Because for so long, I wanted to get sober. I wanted to turn my life around. I just couldn't do it. I didn't have the strength. And there are so many of you on here that do have that strength and are staying sober and have started turning your lives around. That life is just not worth living. It's not. It's a horrible way to live. It is pure misery when we are in active addiction. It really is. Because your whole entire life is controlled by a substance. From the moment that you wake up in the morning, it's one of the first things you think about until the time you go to sleep at night. It's one of the last things you think about. You know, you're already stumbling around. You know, it's 10 o'clock at night. Your spouse or whoever is telling you, just go ahead and go to bed. You don't need anything else to drink. As you're standing in the kitchen, you know, barely able to stand up already as it is, and you're, you know, pouring your nightcap for the night, and you're spilling liquor all over the counter, and you know, making this huge mess in there, and they're telling you, you are already wasted, you don't need any more, and you're in there, I just need one more drink, just one more, and then I'm done for the night. That was me every single night. You know, my wife's telling me, stop, you're already drunk, you don't need any more. I never knew when enough was enough. I have no self-control when I drink. Absolutely none. None whatsoever. Like I said, don't end up like me. If you have managed to get yourself sober, stay that way today. So, anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here for today. I just wanted to come on here and share that little story and, you know, just use it as a reason not to drink today. You know, because the thing is that I find inspiration for these videos in my everyday life and from all kinds of different places. And well, my two thought today, I said, you know, I have to talk about this today, and I have to be able to incorporate this into a video. And, you know, like I said, I started losing all my teeth because of my health problems. That stemmed because I could not stop drinking. That's where I'm at, and that's what happened. And like I said, use me for a reason not to drink today. Use me as an example. So, like I said, guys, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here for today. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. And until tomorrow, I will see you all then. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. I love you guys so much.